Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. I'm going to be bringing you guys the game between Empo and KratosMana for the first game of the SPLXI Tiebreak. No, I'm not bringing you guys a Challenge Cup 1v1 game against Team Pokeballs, my good friend. However, the game should be starting any second as Empo just joined the lobby, and it seems as if KratosMana has been on and ready. Oh, and I just got fissured, so for those of you wondering, um, I just got absolutely slaughtered. But yeah, we're gonna have some SPLXI tiebreak action in the tier of SM overused any second now. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It's gonna be very exciting. I know personally that I am hyped up for this game. Um, Input just left the lobby as well. Player, so I'm expecting to start any second now. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yep, here goes. All right. Forfeit. So we have Empo against KratosMana for SPLXI tiebreak. KratosMana bringing a rain team. Um, Very interesting choice. I think that his matchup's not very good here, though. However, as he's not only is he facing sand, but he's facing sand with drill, which is an offensive threat. Everything to his developer, and Toxpex that is able to keep in check a whole assault of water attacks, as well as Latias, which can potentially form a nice kind of core with Tyranitar to check Manaphy and Kartana. Um, um, yeah, I don't really agree with Kratos Mana's team choice here. Truth be told, I think bringing Rain in the tiebreak is just unnecessary when you're a player of Anti's caliber. Um, However, I do think there are ways to break through. First and foremost, if he's able to disrupt the Tyranitar bit, then he should be able to keep Rain up enough for something such as Manaphy to break through. If it's a Haze Toxpex though, that could disrupt it on some turns. And I mean, you don't really have enough openings when you're facing a Sand team with Manaphy, unfortunately. Swampert can potentially do well, however, it's a prediction game, and if he gets one turn wrong against Toxpex and its Baneful Bunker, then that's pretty much game for that. Unfortunately for Kratos Mana, it's almost definitely going to be just a pivot Magirna, which is really incapable of making progress against extra teams in the long haul, barring kind of reckless play from Empo's side. However, if that's like a Z move, which it probably is, then at least it's not recovering from leftovers. So if you're able to get rocks up with Pert, that could chip it progressively. And then taking things like Ice Beam or Flare Cannon repeatedly could also go a long way. It can be an ideal lead for Kratos Mana, who's going to get the Swampert lead into the Toxpex lead. However, he should be fearful of a Toxic here, which Empo should feel very safe going for, seeing as A, there's no rain up, so it can't like outrun things like Latias and break through things like Celesteela, and B, this has to be the Stealth Rocker on Kratos Mana's team. And he's just going to go for the Earthquake turn one, but yeah, he might very well take a Toxic, and that he does indeed. So that's a worthwhile trade for Empo right there. And I feel as if Kratos Mana is already well behind in this game. As yeah, he does get to chip off and he does get rocks off, but this Swampert's now on a timer, and without rain being up, it's unable to break anything. And the best thing he's going to get out of this trade is simply a trade of rocks. As this, yeah, it's definitely going to be Rocks Clef. Makes a lot of sense. And it's going to be Assault Vest turn, all likelihood. That means, I guess in theory, it could be a choice variant, but we don't see those as often in SMOU. So I feel like Empo has a really sizable advantage as he's going to go get his sand up as he comes in on a Hurricane. And that's just 25 as well, so it's a Specs Pelipper. Um, I think Hurricane was a bad play then. I think you should have went for the water move. There's no way in hell that this was coming, that the Pex is coming back in after it took so much damage. Um, and I don't think bringing in Latias on a U-turn would have been ideal either, as that could have got him trapped in the vortex with the Magirna and eventually put into Kartana range, which you really want to avoid if you're Empo, especially avoiding being an Ice Punch range from Swampert. However, that being specs does mean that he got some nice chip on his Tyranitar, so if it's not a Wish variant, it's a Fable, that could potentially be there to stay, which is nice. However, it also might mean that the rain might not come up for a while, as this could very well be trapped here, which also might mean that Kratos Mana may have to defog, which would kind of make that toxic, taking that toxic not really worthwhile to begin with, as he can lose the Roxy setup, and the regenerator damage is going to be able to heal off even more on the Toxpex. However, getting chip on this Tyranitar could go a long way. Unfortunately, he didn't confuse there, but at least he did hit. It also means that that's not going to be an Assault Vest version of Tyranitar. In fact, that is, I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's Scarf. It could be a Scarf Tar. That would make sense given the damage and get it. Not only it took, but also dealt out. Anyway, we're going to see Cartana come in, and he's going to go Cliff Fable, interestingly enough, and KratosMana is going to understandably predict a switch into either Celestial or Latias and go for the knockoff, and Clave is going to be able to sponge that off, get off a Flamethrower into Magearna for a mere 19%. Magearna seems to be a very bulky variant, perhaps even Assault Vest, as it just shrugged off that super effective Flamethrower, and now it's able to really put off a potential offensive assault, but it goes for a Focus Blast protecting X Drill, which is a poor play in my opinion. Um, I don't think there's any way he's risking the drill here. And yeah, he's just going to go for the Vault Switch. I don't know why Empo didn't heal up, but the Manaphy's back in, and this Clefable is at 49%, which means that it isn't Z Surf range. So we're going to probably see a switch here to the Latias. I wonder if we're going to see a Thunder Wave on the Latias, or maybe even a Thunderbolt. Either way, KratosMana is just going to go for that Tail Glow. And surprisingly, Empo's going to stay in and go for Moonblast. I feel as if he's kind of positioned himself to where he's very vulnerable to this Manaphy. The matchup actually is favorable for KratosMana if it's not an electric move on Latias at this point, I'd say. Um, I think you just have to let go of Clef now. Um, Alexander's doing this really annoying thing in the chat where he keeps on saying KratosMana wins, even before the game, and then saying congrats to Classiestin. I just want to point out that this is just one of the many reasons why I really hope the Classiest win. He's been so annoying over the last like 3 weeks, and I don't think he really realizes that like it's not funny, or the fact that it's just been like irritating to pretty much everyone in the chat how annoying he's been. Um, but I digress. Also, a lot of friends in the Classiest that I am for sure rooting for. KratosMana being one of them. While I really don't understand the team choice particularly here, just the risky nature of it, I do think that he has a really real chance here of breaking through. I think he positioned himself nicely. I still don't agree necessarily with taking the opening Toxic, but then again, like, what else are you going to do against Pex? The theory is that you go Pelipper, and then you just let Manaphy take the Toxic, but then it's like Haze, Mind Games, and shit. And yeah, it looks like it is going to be Scarf Tar. So I would not be surprised if Empo goes for Pursuit here, but Stone Edge probably doesn't kill this Manaphy, so I think you go for the Surf here if you're KratosMana. Um, Take this out and get Rain up, then Swampert does look really threatening. It is still very healthy despite it taking the poison, so that is worth noting. And in addition to that, Specs Pelipper just goes off as well. Hmm. Okay, so it's going to be really interesting to see what this turn is. I think this turn could go a long way, because if he Stone Edges and it kills after Sand, even if he loses the Sand, it's a worthwhile trade for Empa. However, if he pursues and he doesn't pursue and they get the switch right, and that's a real, oh, he crunched. Okay, so it probably wasn't even Edge. So this is a really educated play there from KratosMana, knowing that he's probably not going to go for Pursuit and getting that Kartana in, saving the Manaphy. That's fantastic. So I'd say KratosMana actually has positioned himself really well up to this point. Um, Making that rain usage worthwhile. Hmm. At this point in time, though, I think the Kartana is likely just going to click knockoff, which wouldn't even be bad if he tar like he over predicts and the tar stays in, if only because that means that he's no longer going to be Scarf. Um, Tar is a threat offensively, truth be told. As not only is this Kartana chip, the Pert is poisoned and the Magearna is quite weakened, and the Pelipper, of course, is a very offensive variant. However, it's also more needed for Sand. We're probably going to see oh, he goes for the Smart Strike. I don't really understand that play. Because if Tar stays in and you knock it off, then that's actually favorable for you. Now he goes to Pert on the Heavy Slam, and he's going to have to really dance around this particularly well, because that Pelipper is quite weak, and he's going to get the Waterfall, but it's only going to do 30%, and it's not going to happen on a Leech Seed. It's actually looking a bit more bleak for KratosMana, unfortunately, as we're going to see the Swampert essentially go down for very little damage, unfortunately. Yeah, it's going to be at 3% here. We're going to see it's going to go Pex. Are we going to see a prediction of the Pex? No, he's just going to go for the Waterfall, which honestly was a fine play. He's going to Earthquake and the Celestial would have been great. This is going to allow for the Pelipper to come on in. Unfortunately, the Pelipper can only take rocks one more time, and I feel as if Empo is back in the lead again. I don't really know if he ever forfeited the lead, but if it wasn't a Scarf Tar, which we didn't really have 100% confirmation of, then that Manaphy would have been looking really good. And if he got killed with the tar, then it would have been pretty much over. But yeah, I think KratosMana is still kind of clinging on to dear life. But when he sees a Tyranitar plus Toxapex plus a Latias in team preview, he could not have been thrilled. I'm honestly really surprised that he brought an old Specs Pelipperrain to a tiebreak. I can't help but feel that this was not the optimal bring. But I digress. I'm sure there was merit. Interestingly enough, he's going to go Cortana here, and I'm not really sure what to make of that. I suppose he could try to use his win condition, but Celesteela and Latias both are hanging in the back, and in addition to that, an extra drill in Sandstream should be able to outrun it, and not only that, but also threaten the entirety of KratosMana's team, as Manaphy's in range, Pelipper's in range, Tornadus is in range of a Z move, and Magirna is in range, so it looks as if Empo is a pretty safe win at this point, I would say. What? He's going to go drill on a knock? I can't say I understand that, but it actually works out really well, as he's going to be able to live two knocks, which makes that a really good play. I wonder if he's going to go for the Z here. I personally would. He's going to go for the Z, and it's going to be Course Through Crash. That's going to take out that Tornadus, which means that Pelipper only gets one more safe switch in, which is a really good series of plays for Empo. I think Empo is all over KratosMana at this point, and while he's only up 5-4 according to the score, I think his lead is far beyond that. I think that this game's pretty much over at this point. We'd have to see a really bad throw for this end, and to make matters worse for KratosMana, he's just going to go for the Leaf Blade into that Celesteela. Game's pretty much over at this point. Honestly, the Celesteela in the long haul can just outlast things, but on top of that, Latias can win, and Extra can win, and to make matters worse, that Pelipper is going to go down, so now he's just going to be on that last-ditch hope of the Manaphy. He's going to actually go Kartana. Okay. And he's going to go for the knockoff, sure. But yeah, it looks very bleak at this point. And KratosMana drops a good game. Empo says good game. And it looks like Empo is going to prove that he has been a worthwhile tiebreak pick after this whole time. Last year he got snubbed, arguably, for Pearl. And this time around, he got put in, and you saw what happened. He won SM after going out his way to pick it over SS. And he proved that the Ruiners management was right in not only investing heavily in him, but also in letting him pick his tier of choice. And the Ruiners are going to now be up 1-0 in the tiebreak, as KratosMana and the Classiestin are going to fall with this rain team, unfortunately. As the Toxapex is not going to be able to fall to the Magirna at -2 after the Floor Cannon. And it's going to be a 5-0 victory over KratosMana for Empo. As we just see these final turns, it's going to eventually start scalding and knocking off. Or actually, KratosMana is just going to forfeit. And that's going to be that. So good game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be sure to try and get the other tiebreak games. It should be tomorrow. But yeah, this is Finch. Peace.